For almost 2 days, I've been absolutely obsessed with one of the moves. It's the front roll. The seemingly simple mechanism, it becomes extremely complicated once you add different types of planes, as in the ground. This is extremely simple on flat ground, but once you add little obstacles like this, you got to start interacting with it physically, which makes it quite complicated. Like compared to the slide, you're always on the ground, so it's extremely simple. But with the roll, you're jumping up into the air, falling, landing, and then rolling. So there's a lot of variables there. Let me restart the game. For example, you might fall while you're rolling forward, like this, and fall. Or you could just jump off, which is not as smooth as I would like it to be, but I've got it working, so I'm happy for that. But later on, I need to polish this so that it's way more smoother. It needs to be way more smoother for me to be satisfied. So it should work with any kind of dynamic floor or obstacles. In theory, it should work. I haven't done enough testing yet, but for now, I think it's all right. I mean, it's working, and I'll have time later on to make it better, to improve it, make it smoother, and make it more interactive with the environment. What makes it really complicated is that, I don't know if you've noticed with 3D games, but the character model doesn't necessarily match what's really going on inside the game. So here we have this very simple box that actually represents the physical player. So even though the player it's got a head, the arms and bodies and everything, what really interacts with the environment is the box, which is very simple for now. Or there's the attack detectors, or what do you call them? Colliders, that sort of detects whether you're attacked or not. Let me see if I can bring that up. Kind of forgot where it was. Well, so you see the head. So if you attack the head, this is what actually reacts to the axe attack, or the body. You can barely see the collider. As you can see, this doesn't. There's some spots that doesn't really go along with the model, but that's just the way it is. You just can't have a mesh collider that matches exactly the model. That's just it takes away too much of your performance. So you gotta settle at some point. And in case with the roll, we have this front part of the character that detects whether you've actually run into a wall or not. So when you roll, that sort of opens up like a gate so that you can pass through. Whereas if you're just walking, that detector sort of detects what's on the ground or whatever it is touching and stops you from running into it. So that's a bit of complexity there. So this is what actually stops the player from running into a wall. Obviously the trouble comes when floor level changes dynamically, and the animation is fixed. So there's a discrepancy there, which I found kind of surprising that it was kind of difficult to deal with. It started as a simple parkour type of action, and it turns out to be quite difficult. If I had an if I knew how to set up keyframes, know how to animate a character, it might be a little easier. This problem arises because I have to deal with a certain animation where I only have access to. I mean, I only have access to certain animations, so I have to work with those animations. And in this case, this is the only animation that I found, which I really like. But if I jump off the edge, and because I have to work with limited animations, when I'm jumping off the edge, when you're in the air, so the animation sort of comes to a halt, comes to a stop, and waits for you to touch the ground. I need to smooth that out. As you can see, the player just sort of freezes in midair while you're, in your hang time. I think I have to smooth out easing in and out of the airtime. There's a lot of things that I need to work on. Oops. Let me bring the game camera again. Recently I started working on the jumping numbers, the jumping physics mechanisms. I haven't done it yet, so you're kind of flying around like Hancock. So I would have to work on jumping, maybe jump rolling, and maybe polish sliding a little more, and then I think I'll move on to enemy AI. Once I'm done with all these various character movements, I would like to move on to enemy AI, so that the enemies can move around at certain points and try to chase the player or run away from him if necessary. Basically interact with the environment and the player and make the game enjoyable. The biggest problem is that I sort of have a mental block where if I see something that I'm not fully happy with, that I'm not 100% satisfied with, not even 100%. Usually I go for like something like 70-80% satisfaction level, but if I don't hit that, that thing just stays in my head constantly. Like I just can't get over it. I have to be thinking about that all the time. And the biggest problem is that even if I do spend many hours on a very tiny glitch that people might not even notice, I might not even end up solving it. It just might end up being there, just not being able to solve it. Sometimes that happens, but I don't know. I just gotta keep on updating, keep on polishing, and that's all I gotta do. So I guess that's it. All I've been doing was fixing bugs, rewriting some code, organizing, and making sure that things are smooth. And this right now is something that I'm not fully happy about. But I would have to move on. I have to leave it at some point at 50-60% or something, because I have to see how everything fits together and then polish everything in detail depending on how they interact with each other. So yeah, that's it with the front roll, and I'll move on to other stuff. I just like to be obsessed with these little things. So thanks for watching. Have a great Wednesday. I think today's Wednesday, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.